Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz and I will be guiding you on this journey today. These are the readings for the human design profile, and also there will be readings for the human design types. So stick around, for that. We're going to be using the Spellcaster's tarot, which I love because this is probably one of the first 5 tarot decks I ever got. And I haven't used this deck probably actually in years. So before every reading, I do ask the deck if it wants to do all 16 now of the readings, and I'll just shuffle until it kicks out basically like a yes or no card. And the one deck I wanted to use, because I also haven't used it in a few years, gave me the 3 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles. And I was like, okay, you are not in the mood for work. So, so then like this one was actually sitting right next to it. And I was like, ooh, what about EU? And it was like an immediate yes. So I love that. Also, the other deck that I wanted to use, part of the reason why I went to that one was because this wasn't recent. It was like in the last couple months. I actually went back and watched the first videos that I put out. And I think that was in December of 2021. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to see. I wanted to see how it was or whatever. I don't know. But I'm not going to lie. I also was really expecting to be kind of embarrassed or like cringe, and I really only listened to my sun and rising ones, but I was not embarrassed or like cringy or anything, honestly, at all. Like, I was actually really fucking proud of myself, which is so funny because I was not expecting that reaction, which, that kind of sucks. Like that, I really do need to like give myself a break. But I left a comment though on every video. And of course I just, copied and pasted, but I just left a comment that said, hey Liz, this is Liz from 2025. And I just want to tell you like how fucking proud I am of you because you started this, like I was so nervous and I thought for sure you were going to be able to hear it in my voice. I thought for sure I was going to be stumbling over my words. I thought for sure that, that I was just going to like be continuously losing my words because I do that a lot, and just fumbling all over the place, but I wasn't at all, or not maybe to the extent that I thought. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, so I left, a comment and I was just like, man, like I am so fucking proud of you. And you're the one that felt the fear and did it anyway. And granted, I don't know exactly what I said in that comment. I could look it up, but something along these lines, just telling myself I'm proud of myself, because that past version of me is why I'm even still here. And also why I'm going to be teaching an intro to tarot class at this wonderful, experience boutique next month, which I never thought I would do. So it's just, it was really cool. And I'm so glad that I did that too. Also, the other thing that was kind of funny is that in the intro of those videos, I was like, the acronym for Heretic Owl is HO. So I was like, if you're a hoe, subscribe to the channel. Or if you want to be a hoe, subscribe to the channel. Which I just think is absolutely hilarious. Like, hoe is one of my favorite endearing words. Like, I do not use it like at derogatory. I know people do. I don't, but yeah, so if you want to be a hoe, subscribe to the channel. Be a hoe with the rest of us. But also, like, you know, Heretic Owl Tarot is hot. So, you know, being a hoe makes you hot, you know, or whatever. I can't say, like, you know, do hot girl shit because I don't know if Megan Thee Stallion trademarked that. But anyway, just funny. Just funny. And also too, like I said, like I just remember being so fucking nervous. I literally, I had a phone that barely had any memory on it. I had a computer that barely had any. I could literally only do one video at a time because I didn't have memory or storage on like any device, you know, to actually do multiple videos at a time. And I was using like a folding table, and I had my, I should have grabbed it actually. I had my little owl stone or whatever, which I do still have. But anyway, yeah, very cool. So that's all I'll say. This is the second time I'm actually recording this intro because the first time I was like blabbering on for literally like 15 minutes. So that's it. Oh, that's not it. We're going to do these readings a little bit different this time. And this is also like the way that I've been reading for myself lately. I've been pulling like 2 sets of cards. The first set is the lie, which is the obstacle, or of course, I mean, literally the lie, right? That we're either telling ourselves that usually is like what we're telling ourselves. You know, it could be the limiting belief, old stuff, you know, whatever is also like holding you back or keeping you small. And then the other side is going to be the truth. And of course, right, I mean, I feel like that is pretty self-explanatory. It's a little bit similar-ish to the 333 readings that I do, which is like the door and the key. Similar-ish. But I've already done the 1-3 reading actually, and oh my gosh, that was beautiful. So no doubt all of these readings will turn out that way. And also I believe that the truth is so imperative right now, and especially because we are being bombarded with the depth and the expanse of lies that literally like our whole lives, you know, like the economy, the government, the, you know, the, you know, billionaire class, or, you know, like whatever you want to, whatever, you know, we are literally being bombarded with like how much of that shit is lies, how much we've been fed, you know, like lie wise. And, I think it is imperative, like I said, right now to really hone in on your truth, accept what is true for you as well. And also, again, like even recognize the lies that we're telling ourselves, the limiting beliefs that we're telling ourselves, the identities that we've been, you know, carrying around or operating from, the conditioning, really. Because, you know, I mean, with human design, like a big part of it is the deconditioning process. And I really do think that by more people honoring their own truth, it really is, you know, going to shift the world. So that's kind of also like where that's coming from. So I will officially leave it there, and we'll get into the readings. Great. So this is a reading for the 3-5 human design profile, the martyr heretic. If you don't know what your profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your human design body graph. Your profile will be listed on there. Your type will be listed on there too, if you don't know that. So, you know, be sure to look out for those once I get them posted. And as I said in the intro, if you watched it, I mean, you know, I don't blame you if you don't. But we are doing, we're pulling a couple cards, and really I should just assume, anyway, we're pulling a couple cards for what is the lie, which is, you know, like the obstacle, the limiting belief, the thing that we're like telling ourselves, the thing that's holding us back, or we think that it is. that type of thing. And then we're pulling a couple cards for the truth. So, what is the lie? 10 of Pentacles in the reverse. And the Justice card upright. What is the truth? The Emperor. And the Knight of Cups. Interesting. Interesting. Earth, air, fire, water. Nice. Very balanced, at least that way. And also, I mean, that doesn't really happen a lot, where a card representing an element, or like each element comes out in a reading. Let me make sure. Okay. I feel like it's like kind of like leaning a little bit. I don't know. It's probably just like my OCD, whatever. I'm like, I keep looking over here. I mean, obviously I know we need to, not, I mean, we could do whatever we want. We don't have to start on this side. But I keep looking at this fire back here, and this feels like either a controlled burn, or what do they call that? Like a scheduled or a right is it a scheduled burn? I mean, controlled too, obviously. Obviously, I say maybe it's not really that obvious, but I swear shit just like comes out of my mouth. Like there's been times where I'm like I said, and I'm like I know I didn't say any. Okay, anyway, but I just my attention keeps going to this fire back here. The Emperor is Aries. The Justice card is Libra. So we're dealing here with sister signs as well, or like opposing signs, which is interesting. Neptune and Aries, Neptune and Saturn just went into Aries. So depending on if you have any placements in Aries, if you have any placements in Libra, then there would be an opposition there. I want to say Mars might be in Pisces. I know we're talking human design here, but obviously, like, astrology is part of that. Over here, the lie part feels like a lack of support from community. Just not feeling like you're getting the recognition. Something definitely seems to be, or is being perceived as being out of balance. Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our time and our physical presence. Like, where are we investing our time? Where are we physically showing up in our lives? It's our health. anything tangible, anything that we place worth and value on. Tens are completion. So it's also interesting we go from a 10 to an 11 here. And the 10 of Pentacles talks about legacy, generational wealth. It's a card of success as well. It's abundance of resources, materials, funds, connection, even. We have multiple generations. We have kids back here. We have these two adults. There's this older person back there. And also, like, we really don't have any clue of how these people are related. Like, I mean, we can't assume that they're a family. But to me, there's no real proof of that. We can just see kids playing back there. These two people are talking and passing. And then this older person here. But it does feel communal. Like, it does feel like people cooperating, people working together. And also it's like it's sharing the wealth or sharing the resources, sharing the materials. And also, I mean, there's like all these bags of money around too. Like, they're clearly not concerned with people, coming up and robbing them, which again, I feel like would be cooperation. And in the reverse, it can, of course, be the reverse meaning of that. Again, not feeling supported, not feeling, recognize a lack of cooperation, maybe even just not quite finding the job or the place, the community, the whatever, even like a niche or something where you feel sturdy, you feel secure. And with the Justice card, which speaks of balance and fairness, it's also even like going through trials and tribulations. And I feel like that's even more evident on this card, which I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it, but the skin and muscle and everything like on their hand is gone and it's bare bones. And they're holding a pomegranate there. And in tarot, pomegranates represent fertility and opportunity, planting seeds. And in this card too, like it feels like a triumph. Like, the wind is blowing. Like this feels very dramatic. And like I said, like going through trials and tribulations and feeling or wanting to feel a sense of accomplishment, or what is the word? Completion? No. What? Man, like I literally cannot think of the word. So maybe maybe it's not, the right context. But like when you are fighting for something, when you are like going through stuff and you finally reach like a pinnacle, or you finally get to the goal, you accomplish the thing, right? It's like that sense of pride, maybe even, and is accomplishment the right word? It feels like like the words that I'm saying are not like expressing the emotion for some reason. And again, like this is the side of the lie. So if you are telling yourself that, like you have made multiple attempts to reach a point of success, or again, like find a niche, like really trying to, even legacy, trying to find that thing that takes care of you, but also takes care of those around you. Like if you have family or, children or whatever that you are responsible for, maybe there is even pressure from your family to make certain decisions or to go in certain directions. And it's that like tug of war of I want to do something else, but there is an expectation of me. I mean, we know with the third line, that martyr line, that it's about trial and error. Life bumping up against you, making and breaking bonds. It's like literally having to take something apart to see how it works and putting it back together, or putting it back together in a way that's more efficient, or that it works better. But like people only focus on, oh my God, you took it apart, because like with the fifth line, that's like the universalizing, and people see that as the general, which is interesting that we have the emperor out here, and like the hero, and if you don't measure up to people's expectations that they more than likely didn't share with you, then the projection starts to happen, and the burning at the stake, and your reputation, and that fucking sucks. Like that's not. This is also too like if you are like holding yourself back because you're like burnt out by projections, or just burnt out by things not working out. The thing is that, especially with the third line, every single thing that does not work out is information for you. You're like the prototype of, you're never starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. And it's like about being in incorrect, or correct, of course, environments where that is appreciated. But of course, like it does take being in environments where it's not appreciated, or that aren't correct for you. That's where strategy and authority comes in. Also, like our strategy and authority is designed to help us enter into the quote unquote correct experiences for us. And then our profile is how we interact with the energy or the connections that we make in those experiences. But it's just as important to honor when to enter experiences, but also when to exit them. And especially with the fifth line, it's like recognizing that you did your part and the need to exit. Even, too, like with the third line and making and breaking bonds, right? It's like, when to separate. And is that like a permanent separation, or is it just a temporary one, experiences literally bumping into you, and allowing it to go through your strategy and authority to determine if it is correct for you or not. So it's also like learning to say no. And also trusting a yes. So like I said, like in the lie, it feels like the lie is that you've been dealt a shitty hand. Also, like coming from somebody who's like, I've been dealt a shitty hand. Felt in this situation. And of course, like whatever it is that you are considering right now, I'm not talking broad, whole life stuff. I'm talking in this reading the current situation. And it's also believing that there's no other choice, or that the you have to struggle, you have to suffer is actually more even like with this justice card here, this is like not giving yourself any fucking credit for the amount of shit that you've gone through. And maybe that has been with your family, with your peers, with your community, or groups of people that are around you. But it's also, again, like I said, like with this justice card being here, this is like you're not giving yourself enough credit at all. And you're probably really not even considering how much you fucking know, how much wisdom you actually have. And then with the Emperor and the Knight of Cups over here, this is like, fuck it energy to me. This is like, it's kind of hilarious. Actually, let me see. Because I'm like, we have air and earth on one side, and we have fire and water on the other side. These two don't play great together unless there is a container between them. So I wanted to Google if air and earth go well together, and it says, granted, I don't know. Oh, it says typically no. Earth and air signs are polar opposites. So I feel like that's even interesting too, like the tension that is happening there. And again, I believe that is even proof that the environments that you are attempting to put yourself in, for whatever reason, because of conditioning, because of beliefs, because you've fought for it, because whatever it is. It could have to do with relationships. Again, it could have to do with family, the friends around you, even, like long-term goals that you've had. But it's like not maybe acknowledging that the environments, it's like, fitting a square peg into a round hole, and just like continuing to do that. And the only way that will work is by like chipping away at that square peg, by jamming it into a round hole. Eventually the square peg is going to be damaged throughout, right? I mean, you're literally trimming away the edges of the square peg in order to fit it into the round hole, right? Like that's trauma. Either, because you can't handle that you're wrong, because other people can't handle that they're wrong, Because again, like you have maybe put time, you have, you know, reached the apex, the pinnacle, like you've gotten where you wanted to, and you still don't feel the sense of accomplishment. Whatever it is. But I do think that's interesting. And then again, over here, like I said, with fire and water, they do not mix. Water will put out fire. Fire will turn water into steam. Or it'll just like dry it out, right? Like it just evaporates, which is, I guess, maybe steam. Like, you know, I mean, it's the evaporation or whatever. The, whatever. I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't know. Unless, like I said, unless there is a container between them. And then it's interesting that we have the Knight of Cups here that is holding an actual cup. Because what happens when we put water into a container and put fire under it? It starts boiling. But that's them compromising, or like that's the compromise, or I don't know. I don't know why that seems important, but it seems important because it's like it's your contain, like you have to make the container, and you probably already have, like you probably already have some idea of what that container is. This is like pure motivation. This is taking charge. This is recognizing that you have more control than you realize. You know, this is the divine masculine as well, not the gender. It could be father figure, authority figure. This could be, of course, you know, like mother figure over here. Even though, like, I know Cancer is like usually, you know, mother, but you know, I'm just going based on the imaging on the cards here. But divine masculine, right, which is initiation, go-getting, audacity too, really. Like I said, you know, like taking control, being confident, maybe even a little arrogant, which is like kind of Knight of Cups energy too. But like Knight of Cups is like a little bit delulu, but in a good way. Like they follow their heart. This is like being motivated by possibility, even. Even, you know, this fire back, I haven't even looked at a single other thing on this card other than the fire back there. I'm like, let me just look at this. Oxes here. Ram's heads, you know, like for Aries. There's an acorn there. That seems random to me. But, this fire back here, though, dude. Like I said, it feels like motivation. It feels like you have inspiration. It feels like you are motivated. Even, you know, when they do controlled burns or when they do scheduled burns like that, I mean, they are burning away the dead shit. There's just somebody around that has water, like in case, I think there is. I mean, honestly, I have no fucking clue. But, you know, like there's somebody around that has like water in case the fire wants to spread a little bit too much, or, you know, which would start trouble. So it's interesting because it's like the dance between these two cards is honoring your motivation. You know, motivation is a thing in human design. I'm not like super duper, let's see. I'm pretty sure like my motivation is guilt. I was trying to find just something that like kind of just like breaks it down. Oh, this is like talking specifically about projectors. I don't know. I don't want to spend like a ton of time on this. Is there, let's see. There's fear, hope, desire, need, guilt, and innocence. And I know, like, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it comes from the color. Color is derived from the roots of your personality, sun and earth profile lines, and creates motivation in your chart. So, I mean, that might be a deeper layer that you may want to look into. I think it's interesting that it even came up. I'm not an expert in it. My first line will not let me get involved in something that I'm not an expert in. At least not, initially. But like I was saying though, like I do feel like you have a motivation. I do feel like there's whenever I keep getting like inspiration and creativity. I feel like you have even the oomph. I mean, we know you do because the card is out here in the truth side. And this card represents Mars, aggression, assertiveness. I mean, I'm not saying like go out there. Well, actually, I'm saying go out there and be aggressive with your dreams, with your hopes, with your goals. And if something is not serving you, pivot. Also, even recognizing like people's projections are more about them than it is about you. It just sucks because they are directing them at you. But it's like one of those things of like, no one can make you feel a certain way that you don't already feel about yourself. So I feel like I'm a 5-1, so it's different because I have the 5th line on the personality side. But I feel like the quote unquote gift, if you can call it that, with a 5th line, even the 3rd line too, but specifically with the 5th line, is that there is an opportunity to know yourself so fucking deeply that literally nobody can tell you shit. Like they can say that you're doing this, you're doing that, you're acting this way, that way, whatever. And you're like, no, I'm not. Because I know myself. I know what I'm capable of. I know actually what I was doing in that interaction, in that experience, in that job, in that whatever, right? Like I know because I'm clear with myself and I have a strong integrity with myself, right? I'm saying like, so with the 5th line, it's a really good opportunity to be that clear with yourself. But like I said, it doesn't necessarily stop the sting. I mean, I've been burned out of 3 different like friend groups over, it's like one of those like every 7-year things or whatever, which is also kind of hilarious because like Uranus went into my 11th house of friends and communities and groups and hopes and dreams in 2018. And I had probably like 6 friends. Maybe, well, I always like, I keep my circle small anyway because, you know, groups of people, a lot of people has just never really been safe for me anyway. And I just don't, anyway. I came out of that, and also like Uranus is sitting right on top of my Chiron right now. And my sun, like I have a 27-degree Chiron and a 28-degree sun. But I've been burned twice in the last 7 years by really good friends. You know, I mean, like, and friends that I had for a long time, or, you know, a good amount of time. And by that point, like 2018 is actually when I really dove back into human design. But prior to that, I was just like, oh my God, like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong in these relationships, right? Like, I feel really clear about myself, and I feel like I'm being an open book with people too, and it does not matter, you know. So reading about my profile, I mean, I dropped tears. It was like the first time that I'd ever had my experience like mirrored back to me and validated, you know. So it's like knowing what you know about the 3rd line, knowing what you know about the 5th line, you can start navigating things differently. And I know I probably haven't even really talked about that. Well, I have, in the sense of it's kind of delulu, but it's like the good kind of it's the kind of delulu that like we all need a sprinkle of, because they're going to follow their heart. The Knight of Cups. This is also an offer. This is an emotional offer. This is something that you're going to feel good about. That your heart is going to feel good about. That, you know, it's intuition. I also think that it's interesting a little bit here that, I mean, at the top of this, you know, there's an acorn, and then there's a crescent moon and a full moon there. And then there's the triple moon thing happening on the reins, and then like the bit here. I don't know. I mean, that symbol could mean something. We just had an eclipse in Aquarius yesterday, which I think is like a cycle that's been going to be going on for like the next year or year and a half or so. So there might just be things changing. I mean, again, like you could notice your give-a-fuckery changing. And finally letting go of what's no longer serving you. You know, I mean, you don't necessarily have to like burn bridges unless those bridges need to be burned. But this is like getting rid of dead material. You know, it's actually to prevent larger like catastrophes from happening. It's also to encourage new growth, because charcoal is fertilizer for the ground too. So there's that element. Like there's a lot of stuff that's happening with this Emperor card, and it's literally just you realizing that you are that bitch. And that you can be highly motivated, maybe even intense, And also, follow your heart. Enter into correct experiences. Put yourself out there to be recognized, right? Or whatever, going after the things that you want, the things that you desire, having the confidence to do it because you do deserve it. And then accepting offers. Because again, like I said, like this is an offer. It's almost too like just feels like being yourself. Like it literally just feels like unchaining yourself or just, dropping your own expectations even as well. Like it could be changing what you believe success to be. Because maybe you have gotten to a point of success and you're just like, I don't like that. I thought this was going to make my life seem different, or I thought I was going to feel different. I thought I was going to, whatever. So it's even like a shift of perspective there. This is beautiful. And also, I mean, at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Swords. Look at this fire. This isn't even a fire card. This is an ideas card. This is a perspective shift card. This is, discovering a truth about yourself. This is even following your own truth. Again, I went on the whole thing about, like personal integrity and knowing yourself really fucking deeply. That is knowing your own truth and not letting projection or failure or the perception of failure, right? Because truly, like, there is no such thing with failure with the third line. But people would make you feel that way. You might feel that way about yourself, but it literally has to happen for you to get the wisdom, for you to know what failure even means. Like, I feel like you would be the type that's like, if somebody told you a pot was hot, you would be like, I'll be the judge of that. And also, like, what does hot mean? Like, what does a hot pot feel like? Like, what, like, and then you touch it and you're like, oh, fuck, that's hot. But it's like, that's not as hot as touching, I don't know, hot concrete or, just a metal swing outside or something, you know what I mean? But it's information. It's also, again, like, it's honoring what is true for you. It's navigating your life. Even, we're talking human design, like through your design and experimenting with that. What works, what doesn't, what's true and what's not. What even, like, I'm just like, I'm looking at this Ace of Swords, and it's like, what excites your brain? Because it can also, I had this huge aha moment in January, which it doesn't seem like it should have been as huge as it was, but it was, that I just, like, I get really anxious and I like turn on myself mentally if I don't have something creative for my brain to chew on. Like, if there's nothing going on really, or, like, there's just lulls or I'm in an ebb portion of life or whatever, my brain starts freaking out. And I knew that, like, I know that I do get highly anxious, and I really get terrible with like my thoughts to myself and against myself, and it's like every negative thing that I've ever thought about myself comes up. And I was brain dumping into ChatGPT. Don't even get me started. But I literally, like, I was like, I really should just be using this time to write this book that I want to write. I hadn't even, like, I have an idea, but I hadn't even like spent any time on like anything else. And as soon as I was like, I should be spending this time doing that, like all of a sudden I have this creative thing, because like my money or my income type creative thing was going through and is still going through a major lull right now. And I'm like, freaking out. Or I can spend this time on something creative, because I know it'll change. Like, I know at some point the wheel will turn again, So anyway, that's, that could even be this Ace of Swords energy, like with the fire, because fire represents, again, motivation, creativity, passion, desire. So, it's like having something for your brain to chew on, or like putting your intention, like your focus or your compass on something that you truly believe in. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because I kind of feel like I'm like beating a dead horse here. So thank you for letting me read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.